Thank you. What was the insecurity picture of the state that has now apparently been overcome, as you have said? I mean, was it more of kidnapping? Was it more of robbery, even though it's a thing of the past now?
Yeah, I think all Nigerians and globally, people know that the Niger Delta is largely notorious for, crico-terrorist activities, kidnapping of expatriates, pipeline vandalization, kidnap of even, natives of this country, nationals of this country. What we have today is quite different. In fact, it's a complete walk away from that. Expatriates in the Niger Delta, particularly in Bayelsa today, you can go without security protection, and of course, you can carry out your responsibilities for the interests of this country, for our state, and for the universe. Look, in Bayelsa State, nobody wants to hear the story of kidnapping anymore. It is, however, true that a couple of months ago, some funny idiots tried to undermine the peace and tranquility of the state by taking away a very respected, the Honorable Justice of the High Court in Bayelsa State. And we saw all what happened then. Every household, every person in Bayelsa State, security agencies, teachers, community leaders, opinion leaders, even religious organizations held hands together and they said, no, we'll not accept this. And so it was quite a responsibility that's bestowed on everyone out of conscience. It was so spontaneous. And what happens? He was released, and professionally so. And because there was application of technology, which is part of what the Bayelsa State government has been able to do in collaborating with security agencies, particularly the Nigeria Police Force, by ensuring that we use science and technology to monitor the movement of these funny folks who try to undermine the peace and security of the state, and to also ensure that every citizen who had a dot of information was able to do that freely to security agencies, and the monitoring and evaluation of the situation led to the simple and hitch-free release of that distinguished justice without payment of ransom or fatalities or injuries whatsoever. That is why we're saying in Bayelsa State today, crime fighting has become the responsibility of all persons. It does not matter what you do in Bayelsa State, whether you're doing business, whether you're a civil servant, whether you're working within the multinational companies in Bayelsa State. What we know and what we believe is that let the state be peaceful. When the state is peaceful, the entire structures of the substructures of society will just key in. And that is why we're happy people today in Bayelsa State. The peace has enabled the government to profile the educational sector of the state, taking education to the level, look at the health profiling of the state to ensure that there's health coverage for all families, not minding whether you're a fisherman, a canoe carver, you're a teacher, you're a policeman, or whoever you are in Bayelsa State. The health insurance scheme of Bayelsa State covers everyone, not just coverage, but coverage that takes care of virtually every health challenge. And that is what we believe that, look, when we have a peaceful Nigeria, we're going to have development. In Bayelsa State, we are using that as a litmus test for this country. Let all states in this country to the Bayelsa strategy in crime fighting by ensuring that you weave in the requisite nexus between the people and security agencies. And of course, it's working here in Bayelsa State. And the government is showing a zero tolerance, not in political terms, by ensuring that no interference. And we continue to provide the requisite support for all security agencies to ensure that they don't just have land vehicles and watercrafts, but we'll also use science and technology by taking over the airspace of Bayelsa State to view and to monitor virtually everything that happens, both in and out, that they're talking about entry and exit points. It's working in Bayelsa State. Every security agency, organizations in Bayelsa State who wants to have their own personnel work in Bayelsa. Why? Because the place is peaceful, and the officers and men of the security agencies will go to work and come back home very safely, and the reports are very good because crime reportage in Bayelsa State is at its very lowest ebb because things are working here.